this is Texas Tiger Digs, and let's talk diggers for a second. Lately I've been on this bout of making sure that everything I've used before that I give a review on. So this is part of that, and then it's part of another thing that I think is very important, is how you choose your digger. Now these are a couple of my catastrophic and somewhat less than catastrophic failures. Now this is not the digger that failed, but if you see this thing, it's very skinny and it has no no reinforcement here. And the other one I've got, which is somewhere around, I might have thrown it away, just bent just perfectly. I can almost bend it with my hand. Now that was very cheap, and I knew when I got it that it was going to be you know, pretty much a waste. Now what I could do is insert a bolt or something in here, or screw it in, or force it in, and then I would have a reinforced back, and that might make that actually usable. And I think I will do that at some point. Over here I have a small Hori Hori knife, and it was also not very useful. And there's another piece of this. Oh, no, here it is. So that was it. Now the thing about diggers is you can't have a weak point, and this thing comes to a point where it goes to the handle where it is less. For this to be actually functional, you would need the full tang extent of this to have gone into the handle and been a larger handle. So that was a major failure. This is a gardening tool, planter, I believe, and you see here it chipped here. Now this is the danger of using an aluminum tool. Aluminum is fine as long as it's thick, because I don't see these parts failing catastrophically for quite some time. But when it is at its thinnest point, like in a knife blade going in, then that's where it's most likely to fail, and that's what happened here. Now I have used a lot of gardening tools, hosts of gardening tools, and basically I was using that just as an alternative, and just because I had curiosity as to how a gardening tool would work as a digger. And some of them will work. Now the thing you have to know about gardening tools is gardening tools are meant to be worked on prepared soil. When you get down to something as small as these, this, and this. Now I gotta admit, now this is a small Japanese Hori Hori. I've got some thick ones, and they're not going to break unless I don't know, unless I run a tire over them or something, and I don't think they'll break then. I'm going to have to just basically hit them with a sledgehammer to break. But this was a little tiny one, and it had a failure point. So getting back to what I was saying, sorry to digress there for a moment. So you're working on prepared or softer soil. Chances are you have soil imported, or you've had soil previously tilled, or you've done it manually in order to make the digging process easier. And in some areas you have to import soil in, because there's no way that you can grow a wide variety of vegetables, etc. on hard pan soil. So you imported soil. So these tools are not stressed like that. But when you're going out and you're digging, you're always, with very rare exceptions, and you're never digging in soil you pre-prepared. You may be digging in soft soil because it's a construction site, or or if you're out in fields, it's been plowed. So you might be digging in soft soil for that reason. But other than that, you're never going to be digging in anything but the real soil in your area, and that will vary by season. And my season at this time is in August of 2015, and it's hard pan, very, very hard. These will not function, and I didn't expect them to in the Texas weather I'm digging in and detecting in right now. They're just not going to work. So let me go back. Now if you're going to be metal detecting long term, you're probably going to need to buy a digger that's specifically tailored to metal detecting. It's going to be strong, it's going to be reinforced, and it's usually going to be tempered and quenched, so it's going to be hard, and it's going to be thick. So If it breaks, it would break, but it's very unlikely because it's going to be a thick piece of steel. It's not going to bend because it's tempered, and I'll talk about that when I go over to the actual digging tools. So that's your choice. Now, if you're not going to get a digging tool, you want to go cheaper, then you can get metal gardening tools that will work according to how bad your soil is. There's some the soil I'm working with now can bend most metal tools, but you can bend them back and they will function to a degree or another. But you really can't use aluminum tools. Let me go back, because aluminum tools, to be functional, are going to have to be thick, and to get into a hard pan they need to slice in. So then you're still looking at sharp tempered steel, or an Hori Hori knife that's not tiny and with a failure point, which is basically arrow or dagger shaped to some degree. All right, so that's the thing. So when you go out and you go and find a tool, one of the less expensive tools, because chances are the diggers are going to be more expensive, the metal detecting diggers. You can go out and get a gardening tool. Just make sure it is preferably tempered if you can find it. If it's cheap, no big deal. You can still dig with it, and you can still function with it in most soils. So that's a good choice for you. Now let me get over here to the actual digging tools. Now these are just not functional for what I want. Now this might be, I'm still going to get that bolt and stick it in there, maybe ground it off and make it form fit. It might be pretty cool. So that'll be an interesting little topic for a future video, making that useful. Now here we go. We got two digging tools here. I did not bring my Lesche. Don't know exactly where it is, but everybody know what the Lesche looks like. If you've been in detecting, watched detecting videos for more than 5 minutes, you've seen a Lesche. In the soil I'm digging in, I'm going to have to use a heavy duty tool. Now this is the tool I'm using. Now if you see this thing is thick and it is as heavy as it looks, this is the Viking Digger. I will put a card or an annotation, or I might even put it down in the description of where I tried and used this tool and how I described it. This is heavy as all get out. I mean, very, very heavy. This is what I've been using in the Texas soil this season. It's just the only thing I can use. I have to jam it in, and then I can work it in because of its arrow and it's thick, and then I can pry it, because I am not going to break this with soil. It's just not going to break. It is heavy tempered steel. It's very, very, very heavy welds, and it's very, very strong. Now the Garrett, and let me go back to the Lesche. The Lesche will also function this way. It's not quite as heavy duty as this, but it will function because it will slice in, and I have no doubt, because it is tempered steel, that it will survive our summers. Now let me go with the Garrett one right here. And the Garrett, it disappoints me in one thing. I am a huge fan of virtually the gamut, with some rare exceptions, of Garrett products. All of them are good. I was upset when I first got this because Garrett seemed to settle for this one particular product as being just good enough. It will bend, and it looks strong. It is thick, but it is not tempered. It is not quenched, so it's not hard metal. I don't think that would be very difficult to do. If I had a forge, or access somebody with a forge, I could just have them strip this paint off and do it, and it would be as strong, or within percentages of being as strong, as this Viking Digger. So that was the one thing. This will bend, and it will function, and it will function in this hard soil, but you will get some give, because I have bent this and had to bend it back. And I hope that is of interest to the new people who are out there just starting their digging careers. And I hope it didn't bore you old pros too much. And I'm sure I'll hear comments down below on what I got wrong. You guys have a wonderful day, and I will see you next time.